This is day 205 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Today's Arukh HaShulchan Yomi is sponsored for the yahrzeit nishmas Aliza Kayla Bas Micha Shmuel by her parents. The neshama should have an aliya. If you would like to sponsor an upcoming shiur or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. Today we're doing Siman Kuf Nun Aleph still, and we're doing test to test Zayin. Test. Mutar likanas beis hakneses be tarmilo maklo v'tarmilo v'pundoso. You're allowed to go into the shul with things you can't go into the Beis Hamikdash with your staff and with your knapsack and with your another type of container. These are different types of large pockets, large purses. You're not allowed to go in with these accoutrements. Shani Beis Hamikdash Kedusha Yisera Isbei. Beis Hamikdash is different. It has higher Kedusha. Mino, just like shoes. Shos Ganki Beis Hamikdash, which are forbidden in the Beis Hamikdash, and Mutar B'hem, you're allowed to wear them in a shul. V'chein Laruk, to spit. Also Beis Hamikdash, Mutar B'hem. It's permitted though in a shul. Then let's start by Mash Shedarko Shadam Lasos Beso. In basic Knesses, we don't ask for things which a person would normally do in their house, and I guess in their living room. Yesh Mimdinot Yishmael Shochin basic Knesses below Mino. The people, their shuls in Muslim countries where they go to shul without shoes. Ve'eno minhag yafeh. It's not a good minhag. Lamdu kem yesh labatlo, and they learned it from the Muslims, and therefore it should be negated. One of the things to try to find difficult to comprehend is why by the oil of Lubavitcher Rebbe, and I think there's one other Sur Chasidus which does this, but it's primarily Chabad in our day and age, where they have people take off their shoes in order to go to the kever. This is not a Jewish custom, as far as I know, by the Ovos and Rachel Imenu and all those other places. So, and Meiron. So, I'm generally don't go to Kvarim. That's not my thing. But anyway, this is something which is very strange to me. Okay, it's a pet peeve. Going on. V'rak shiur, when you do spit, you should rub it in with your foot. Shadavar mos, who it's repugnant. Anyway, she said davar mos kodesh. It should not be seen, this repugnant stuff, in the holy places. Shabbos Yosem Love actually is make on a Shabbos when you can't rub it in because it might be Ashwei Gumos, so then you have to put your shoe on it until it dissipates. Yeshem Chol Oteven Ogemi Sharok Enonireh Bisham. If there are places like sand or straw or matting where people won't see the saliva, so but Yarok Lisham, you should spit there. And you can even spit after you finish your davening. People do this at home. The Sharat Sion has therefore a legitimate question, I should say, that those people who are rich, who are makbid not to spit at home, which is basically everybody today. So if that's the case for them, it should be also in the base Knesset to spit. Go back to Arukh HaShulchan because came to Sochat Tefillah, certainly within davening. The employer Arukh Yelo Bilbo B'Tfilos. Certainly within davening, you're allowed to spit. Sorry, the employer Arukh Yelo Bilbo B'Tfilos. So you don't spit out. It's going to stare. It's going to disturb your davening. But he's like needs some kika. Ariza was careful not to spit in shul because his holy body could sustain that much as opposed to us. Chabad, at least, again, I don't know, the Chasidus, they have a minhag that Shemish Tachmin have a rik, smelling Eliyoshia, they put their hands in front of their mouths and they give a juicy spit on the floor and then they grind it in with their foot. Yud, Kasar Beta B'Sesiv Sivav. Yesh Yosim Nikonis Bo B'Sakin Aroch Oberosh Megula. That those who are forbidden going into shul with a long knife or with an uncovered head. it's not clear why these things, I guess, are linked to each other. But the Rosh Megula Balabachi also. Anyway, now let's go with an uncovered head. Near can we show mer the Kachtzoy Klamar. So Arukh HaShulchan says probably we have to change the Girsa in the Shulchan to the following. Sakina Arukh Uverosh Megula, meaning we have a long knife which is open and not in its scabbard. It's not in a scabbard. The kshu b'kis mutar, if it's in a scabbard, it's permissible. That's specifically a long knife. The cuts are yochel idmonos to dagas b'kiso. A short dagger you put inside your clothing or in your pocket. So the reason is for this prohibition. Metal shortens the life of people, and that's why it's not allowed to be used to cut the stones for mizbeach. But Torah Tefillah, Marichin Yom HaShalom. Torah Tefillah make extend a person's life. It's not appropriate for that which shortens life to be demonstrated and manifest in such holy places. Okay, now it's a shecht, an animal, in the shul or base medrash. Can't go in with the mud on your legs. You should wipe them off before you enter. The shoes should be clean. You should not have on your clothing any dirt. Also, we respect them to sweep the floor, and tamp down the dust with water. That dust should not rise amidst the mispalim. And to clean the walls. There's the covered, and the custom is to light candles, not just for illumination, but also for the covered in the shul. His brackets, Mashkos Magaram, Sifkan Yub, B'Shem Sefer Chasidim. The Riyah Mechabed Bizkana Lifnei Aron HaKodesh, Ayin Sham. The Sefer Chasidim brings down that the Riyah used to sweep the floor in front of the Aron HaKodesh with his beard. Udavar Tamua Lizalza because Kana. Rishon doesn't like that. So it's an astonishing thing to make a mockery of his beard. Rabim Ein Datam Nochem Izeh. And many people are not happy about this. But if I recall correctly, Rabbi Yerucham brings down that in Kelm, they used to auction off on Simchas Torah the right to clean the base medrash every week. And in other words, they wouldn't leave it to the custodial staff. It's considered to be a tremendous covet. And if I recall correctly, he brings down and praises this thing with the beard, but it's from dim recesses of memory. The Mishnah brings down the Aliya Rabbah says that you only have to be machmir by a sword which is not covered, and similar to Arukh HaShulchan. And he says that the interesting thing, the Biur Halacha says this is only by regular people. But Talmid Chacham, who's allowed to eat a base medrash and even a base knesses, and the knife is for his cutting his food. Makes sense. It's mutter, and you only have to cover it when you finish using it. Interesting. Yav, I feel like I should cover that even after the shuls have been destroyed, they're still holy. It's like you conduct yourself as covered in when they are settled and built. So to conduct yourself covered when they are destroyed. Even in chutzlaretz. Obviously, you're not going to clean them and tamp down the dirt if they're destroyed. By Mishnah Megillah, based on the shul which is destroyed, aim of speedim to has spade him in it. The aim of shiur chavalim, don't make ropes in it. Then shochem al gago peros, you don't dry fruit on its roof. They don't make a shortcut. Shemet says vashimosias mikdashechem. I'll make desolate your mikdashos. Kushasam afshin show me the kedushas even when they're desolate. If grass grows in it, like in the koiso, you shouldn't pluck it out. Mishnah Berurah brings down the lashon of the mechaber and says that it's toshinos. You do pluck them out. In other words, you're allowed to pluck them out and leave them in place. I guess maybe because they destroy the integrity of the wall, and as long as they don't remove them from where they are. In any event, the Arukh HaShulchan says, goes with the gear so that not to pluck them out. So people should be in anguish. So people should see the toya rucham and arouse their spirits and make the effort to rebuild it. If he's saying that's the case, it may certainly no. So you don't have to build it anymore. Such to build a shul elsewhere. Family down the middle, so they have no intention of rebuilding this one. And you don't have to pluck the grasses. Eliyasu go there. You still don't have to pluck the grasses, I guess. I'm not sure exactly. You should tell us really that you can be told something. But it's not so symmetrical here. It says, answer you don't have to pluck grass, Eliyasu, go there, Makom, put a fence around the place. Shalo Yasu ba Makom, they shouldn't do repugnant stuff in that place. Based on the parameters which are going to come up, and you can sell the place. Used to curse the women who would hang their garments, to dry them in the airspace of the base of Medrash. Mishnah Kai, it sounds like it's going to the Mishnah, the field of Churban, some even in the Chur, when they're destroyed, now to hang the laundry there. The Kosher in Chabeshim, and certainly to wash the laundry there is certainly prohibited. You bet, it's Kosher Rabbeinu B'S Yosef B'Sif Yud Aleph. In B'Shas Vinyan Beis HaKnesses, Sidnu Alav Ishtamishvo, and when they built the shul, they made a condition to use it. Mutal Ishtamish Bo B'Chron, they're allowed to use it when it's destroyed. The Tashmish Mugunah, even for repugnant use, such as planting there, the Cheshbonah Shorab, no, I skip. Mutal Ishtamish Bo. When it's constructed, the Tanai doesn't have any effect. Feel Churbano, and even when it's destroyed, the Tashmish Mugunah for a repugnant use, such as planting, Cheshbonah Shorabim, and making the Cheshbonas of many of the masses. I'm not sure why exactly that's so. But love for this, lo mani tanoah. For that, a tanai doesn't work. Bialocho says that similar things. It says kalush losh godo, great frivolity. Kamo cheshbonos, whatever that. I don't know. I mean, cheshbonos is not frivolous, but maybe for people who are better at them, they are frivolous. Uschok v'hitul, and laughter and mockery, chayetz b'zeh, anything like that. It's even in chutz la'aretz, and even when they made it tonight. It's also whether it's built or not built. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. When is this true by shuls chutzlaretz? It's so lo mani tana. The Ad Kama shown this in the court of Beis Yosef. In other words, in Eretz Yisrael, the Tanai doesn't work for when they're destroyed. But Tanai dafka kshin leferish. This Tanai is only they made it explicit. Abistam lo mani Tanai nesiyos. We don't say that mistama they're made out tonight. Even the Batei Knesset Shel Chutzlaretz. Mishnah Berurah says this name Magen Avram, but he says Eliyahu Rabbah is more tends more to be Mekel. He says there's no definitive psak on this, and nevertheless not worthwhile to be Mekel. Okay. Going on to Arukh HaShulchan, but Dafka Bavel came in Hagam. Shekol Binyanim out tonight. In Bavel, that was the minute that all their construction was out tonight. Bistama. Lo b'sharatz b'chutzlaretz, it's not else from chutzlaretz. V'gam hada b'churban ma'ani tonight. Also that which in the churban the tonight works. Zeuk she'ein dat only no, so it's only they don't have a mind to build it again. Avok shadaitim no, so they have a mind to build it again. Lo ma'ani, the tonight doesn't work. So many restrictions on the tonight. V'yesh mishacholik b'zeh, those are arguing on this. As Mishnah Berurah brought down the Eliyahu Rabbah. The guy is megamgim malchik sheben Bavel sha'arotzes, and those who are not clear that Bavel and other lands are different. In fact, the Be'er Locha and Sharatzim say that Stam Chutzlaretz also is built out tonight, not just in Bavel. If you made it tonight, go to daven in the shul till X time, but not afterwards. You're allowed to use it from there on in, even though it's built up, because you made that tonight. Kol tash mishir, you can use it during from that time on. Kol tash mishir, it's any usage you want. Even the shul is fully intact. Came before Shazman, since you explicitly made a kaddish for a limited amount of time. The Be'er Locha says, this seems to be that it's not designated to be a shul at all. If it can terminate its status as shul. So that's the case, even at the time when it's serving a shul, it shouldn't have to do just basic Knesses. says, nevertheless, you should not be frivolous in it. And sort of eating and drinking, but in terms of eating, drinking, and other usages, sounds like you don't need machmir. It must still be used as a shul because there's no true permanent designation as a shul. That's a Micha Shmuel. Arukh HaShulchan doesn't seem to hold that way. You give a zeu shitas ataysis varush vatur shulchan aruch. Darmin and sham now tonight asios. I feel he's the favorite man bin yono lo mahani. I feel the favorite even they made the not explicit as man bin yono lo mahani does not affect it for the time when it's built up, but rak achar churbano only on after it's destroyed. Moshe Kasabnu. Avshitas Ramban Varan with the Gam bin Yoram tonight the Davar Echri. Tell that tonight works even when it's still built up if it's a compelling matter. Such as poor people eating and drinking there. Eating and sleeping there. But also for temporary use for all sorts of niyim purposes which niyim require. That's why they said that Kiddush in Shul is for those who are eating and sleeping in Shul. But the Tosis in the Rosh, they say that's not going to Shul itself, but rooms adjacent to the Shul. Allah agrees with the Ramban and the Ram. And Micha Shmuel says, nevertheless, but they're built up, the tonight doesn't work, except in terms of eating or drinking or coming in because of the sun or the rain. No, that's the other way. It says, when they're built up, the tonight doesn't work specifically for eating or drinking or coming for so the sun or the rain, because that's considered to be Kalus Rosh. But other usages, the tonight works even in Eretz Yisrael, national Chutz La'aretz. Okay, the Arukh HaShulchan does not seem to be that lenient, but he's not finished yet. You don't. The Rambam only saw Din Zeh Legamri. Rambam doesn't speak about tonight at all. But the early Shoyam Farish Perush Acher. It seems that he has a different interpretation. How can make a kedusha conditional? Calls man shein b'kedushasan, as long as they're holy. Harei b'echrech she'yidei kedushan zan they are holy. Kamar makdish ever leberek habayis. Like somebody who consecrates something to the treasury in front of the Beis Hamikdash. V'yasneh she'yochol ishtamish bo. Even if he makes a condition, he can still use it while it's kosher berek habayis. But v'arei mol, he can whenever commits a sin in me'ilah if he uses it then. You can't make it Tanai and Hekdesh. Bari lo mahani, bein bebinyanon, bein b'churbanon. Tanai should work whether they're built or not built. Who can say, oh, no, I'm going to get rid of going to limit curtail the Kedusha. If that's against the halacha. Elas, what does the Rambam learn? The Tanai is that they should be able to sell them afterwards to a mundane use, which is by Simon Kufnan Gimel. That's the condition that the Rambam does describe. That's when it's mutter when they make a condition lafkia kushas and legamre to undermine the kedusha altogether. To have a kamakdish lizman, because then it's like you're doing hekdesh for a specific time. But as long as it's being used for the higher purpose of a shul, all the laws of kedusha apply to it all the time. He says in the brackets here, I am Magen Avram Sitkon Yudal Shikshal Hadi Ben Yonah Lomel tonight Mesim Kufnu Dalet. How can you say when it's built up, it doesn't work? I feel Armoil tonight. Even for our Kodesh tonight works. But it's B'daycha, because it's a difficult answer. Needless to say, Apia Svara Shikosabnu. Chulchan says, based on what we wrote, the Hasam L'Chatchila Eino Makdish Del Sefer Torah. They're not Makdish the honor for the Sefer Torah. V'Hakam Menes the Sefer Torah B'on Shachol. It's as if the Sefer Torah is standing in a mundane closet. There's no obligation to make an arm. But basic is chovo. You have to have a shul. Chalei same shul. Came she's sham have a basic nesses. And it follows necessarily that since it's down there, that's a shul. And it's kushas upon it. And no condition is effective in its being built. Test Vav. Kasar Rabbeinu Beis Yosef, Pesip Beis Yesh Lizoy Mishtamish Ba'aliyah Shagabe Beis Agneses. Tashish Kavua Shel Gnai. Go Mishkav Sham. the upper floors of a shul you should not use for a constant use which is repugnant, such as to lie down there. Shiur says, of course, from this sound, the implication of that is that to lie down occasionally is permissible. B'shar tashmishim yesh stopping and mutar shtamisham other tashmishim. Other uses is unclear if we can use them there. Shiur says that based on the Shari Trubi can be lenient, except for the place mamish on top of the Aron Kodesh. There you have to be careful not to use. Anyway, back to Arukh HaShulchan OC. Showing others of the base here, he said, "V'asavi hiskachu gagin aliyos b'kedusha beis hakneses." The question is whether the roofs and the second floors have the kedusha of a shul. Based on mikdash aminim b'psachim b'kol hazora gagin aliyos hiskachu. In the rest of the courtyard, based on mikdash, then the roofs and second floors do not make kodesh. Ubehechal, but by the hechal, kodesh kodashim, this kodesh it is holy. Ayin shom. But it seems there that the kedusha of a shul of the bayis, the base of mikdash in that case, doesn't automatically expand to the roofs and the second floors. Except for the heichal, where it's explicit there in Mekadosh the second floors. Okay, so what suffix is there? So he says, Mikra Din, there's no suffix. You can use the second floor for what you want. But maybe it's appropriate to make a commemoration by our Mikdash Shmat in the Beis HaKnesses, like the Kedusha in the Heichal. Tez Zayin, I'm astonished in the opposite direction. The Kedusha Leka B'Kagin, true, there's no Kedusha on the roofs. They come, the Yisr Shloya Kol Kagin, Kivon Beis HaKnesses. We said that there should not be any roofs higher than the shul. That's because they used their roofs. Therefore, the psak was that by us, they don't use the roofs. The whole issue is that it should be higher than places which are normally used. Which so listen to this. It's also in the entire city to use some places which is higher than shul. So it follows that certainly on the roof of the shul itself you can't use. Can't use the suffix. What suffix is it? Certainly should be also. Granted, according to it's not because of usage. But his opinion is not born halacha, so it's very difficult. Brackets, it says, one could say, although it's difficult, that it's only if you use the entire city, the roofs, that's the problem, that's the degradation. Lower basis class is that small, the broken shishtamshu, not shul itself, where the only occasion is occasionally. Kol near Kane doesn't do this distinction is sufficient, the duk. Okay. Let's finish this. Yud Zayin is really tomorrow's, but let's finish it to finish the simon. There's also speak about a perfect shul, which is built originally for that purpose. But if a house and the designated steeple, a room inside it, for davening, you can lie on top of that. The game shul, and even it wasn't built originally for a shul. Mani Beit Tanai, if you'll be shuva, the Tanai works even when it is still in use. Nevertheless, somebody who's meticulous should not get involved, do that. The shari, some say it's a kavachomer. The house comes first, it's okay. Certainly, if you built a house as part of the Beis Knesses, it's okay. That means you deliberately deprive the upper floors of Kedusha. Only a tasha which has a very big bizayon, such as going to the bathroom and such. That's also. I'm assuming tina was something like refuse or tending one's needs. The shiur also uses this. This is general has this difficult. This is again following with this previous sif This is certainly also me. Time does the shtam shekvis makom shul yosef gavor be based on knesses. You can't use a place that's higher than the shul. Mizbar simikuf nun. Okay, but Divra Taz, here's the brackets. He says, he brings out famous Taz. Divra Taz Temuim, Mo, because of Shubat's Mo Nanash Al and Sham, the Taz attributed to the death of one of his children, to the fact that he lived on top of the shul. Lachem Shita Shoasur, and whatever justification he gives is astonishing, it's Pasha it's Asur. Lo Damadin Shuramash Me'olam Lo Niskash Uzel Basic Nesses. It's not like Ramaz Alacha, where it wasn't Niskash Uzel Basic Nesses. They ain't Tzorch L'Tnai Shekosabnu, but we don't need a tonight because it's only a house which you daven. Because you basic nesses a love, because she shame basic nesses a love. Anything which has the chalei shame shul pshita shal asula do the malami basic nesses. So obviously you can't live above the shul v'duk, and bisman is of course it's very frequent with shtiblach that they do live above the shul, and I guess you would have to say something along the lines that they don't give a kedusha basic nesses. They only regard it as a bias that the mispalim bo. Otherwise, what's that?